Hello, everyone. Let's talk hair. I'd like everyone to look at the person sitting in front of them or beside you and think of one word to describe their hair, but keep it to yourself. This is something we do every day. We judge people's hair. Even I'm guilty of it, but that's what I do for a living. What if blondes, redheads, and straight hairstyles was banned from the workplace? That would be outrageous, right? Well, something like that actually happened to me. I didn't have blonde hair, and it wasn't straight. I was 18 years old, an aspiring fashion designer, and I got a part-time job in a fabric store. And one day, the manager came to me and said, "The boss told me to tell you, you can't work here with your hair like that. It's not appropriate for our clientele." That wasn't true, because all day, customers were complimenting my hair. I said to her, "Have him to tell me." And the next day he did. He gave me an ultimatum. He said, "If you want to work here, you have to take out that hairstyle." Now, it took me 8 hours to braid my hair. It would take me 5 hours to unbraid it. And the thought of going and working for someone that felt that way about me was unbearable. So March of 1978, I was fired because of my hairstyle. Believe me, I cried. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know what to do about it, other than braid so many heads that this wouldn't happen to anyone else. And so here I am, 2 months later, braiding out of my apartment. It's 2017, of course, and it's still happening. In the 60s, it was the afro. In the 80s and 90s, it was braids. And today, you face discrimination if you wear twists, locks, and the afro again. It's a pattern, right? These are the faces of a few of the thousands of women that have faced hair discrimination. This is Pamela Mitchell, Marriott Hotel. Cheryl Tatum, Hyatt Hotel. Barbara Cooper, American Airlines. Lorinda Wilson, U.S. Navy. Kalika Patel, 13 years old, Pretoria High School. And Dr. Christy Mitchell. She resigned from the Army in 2009 because she was told she'd have to put her hair under a wig. 8 years later, January 5th, 2017, the outgoing Obama administration lifted the ban on lock hairstyles in the Army. Janet Davis, I got a call from her one day where she was panicked because a new grooming policy came out in the Army that banned the hairstyle she had been wearing for years, twist hairstyles. So I contact the Army, and I did a lesson on hair to the senior officials, and they changed that restriction on the twist hairstyle. And today, women can wear twists in the Army. Thank you. In 2016, a federal appeals judge ruled that it's okay to discriminate against locks in the workplace. And 6 months ago, in the US, the UK, and in South Africa, schools banned children from wearing braids and afros and told them they would have to straighten their hair. So we organized and we created the natural hair care movement to empower people to not only love their hair, but to fight for hair freedom and against hair discrimination. We protest, we filed lawsuits just to wear our natural hair in the workplace and to also be able to open businesses to do it. So over 36 years, we found that there was a pattern of hair discrimination, and we documented these patterns. The first one was job loss occurrences. African Americans who wore natural hairstyles were discriminated in the workplace. And employers even went so far as to create written policy to ban you from wearing these hairstyles. The second pattern was no job loss occurrences. If you wore straightened or naturally straight hair in the workplace, you were not discriminated against. And there was no written policies that banned straight hairstyles. And the third pattern was threat to economic liberty. And you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with hair? Well, as braid businesses opened across U.S. cities, states used irrelevant occupational licensing laws to shut them down. In fact, in 1980, we opened Cornrows and Company, a natural hair business, and we created jobs for young women to braid. And Washington, D.C. government attempted to shut us down 4 times, issuing fines and cease and desist order. And some braiders were even arrested, such as Isis Brantley of Dallas, Texas. So I am thankful to Taladin Ukhtar, who is known as the godfather of braids, and the Institute for Justice. They continue to successfully fight for hair freedom and economic liberty, which is our 14th Amendment to earn an honest living. Our hair is not a threat. It's not political, but there is this constant effort to degrade it, even by the words used to describe it. In cosmetology school, in the textbooks, they describe this hair as over curly. What is that, like overdone or too much? And then bloggers and haters will call it nappy. Well, nappy means diaper, so now we have diaper hair. And then there's a new made-up, make-believe hair typing system that classifies number 1 as straight hair and number 4C at the bottom as kinky hair. We have to change how we feel about hair. This is where you come in. We can change hair discrimination if we change the language we use to describe hair and we change how we see it. Take a look at this microscopic image of hair. As you see, there's a circle pattern on the tip, looks like a fingertip, a fingerprint. This you can't see with the naked eye, but what you can see with the naked eye is once the hair grows out of the scalp. One day, I found strands of hair on the floor that were perfect circles. What I realized is that hair has a shape, and so the shape should be the name that we use for hair. So I started the Circle Hair Project to collect hair from around the world, to track human migration based on hair shape, and to teach people about the beautiful evolution of hair. So I collected hair from over 100 different people, and I found some really interesting patterns and occurrences. So hair has a shape. It's either circle or straight, and everything is in between. And that shape determines how your hair grows and what happens when it gets wet. So large circle or straight hair grows down, and when it gets wet, it hangs down. Small circle hair grows up, and when it gets wet, it shrinks. And as you see the middle photo here, that is her wash and wear hair. And beside it, we blow dried her hair and twisted it. So you can see the length is pretty much the same as the straight hair. These 2 little girls, their hair is basically the same length, but again, one grows up and one grows down. Also, what I found was that circle hair came in different sizes, from really tiny to very large. And I came up with an accurate way to measure the circle size. I used the point unit measurement. And so the smallest size that I collected, as I said, was 8 point, the largest one, 35. So to put this in perspective, 8 point is the size of a pinhead, and 135 point is the size of a quarter. And obviously, the larger the circle, the easier you will see it. And this is what small and large circle hair looks like. Small circle hair is an afro, and large circle hair appears to be straight. So here's the hair of 4 different males. Again, the smallest size 8-point all the way to straight. The 8-point hair I collected from a 10-year-old South African boy who is a descendant of the Sand people, one of the oldest indigenous populations on the planet. And according to geneticists and genetic studies, they have the oldest gene pattern found in modern humans. And it dates back over 80,000 years. So this is the Sand people. And if you notice, it's small, circle size, and the hair of the baby all the way to the elders is the same because there's no admixing. They live in small family bands. The picture here, that's my people. Those are my nieces and nephews. Both parents, African American, but they have distinctly different size circle hair. And so as you see, the 4 children have different circle size hair. And in fact, there's a set of twins here, the tallest girl and the smallest boy. So we thought we could predict the circle size of children in the order they were born. We were totally wrong. If there's a distinct difference in the shape of hair of 2 parents, it's unpredictable what the children's hair would look like. So this is my hair, which is a 28-point. My firstborn is a 36-point, and my secondborn is 135-point. And both her father and I, African American, and our circle size is pretty small to medium. Here we have the hair of an African woman, Fulani from Gambia, and her husband is Caucasian. And her hair is 14-point, her firstborn 48-point, and her secondborn 72-point. And interesting, the most common circle size hair that we collected in my salon in the Washington, D.C. area was 12-point from African American women in particular. But I also found that 12-point was the same circle size that I collected from women from different parts of West Africa. That's not surprising. So let's go back to the original pattern of hair discrimination. Large circle to straight hair, there was no discrimination against that hair in the workplace. Small circle to medium circle hair was discriminated against in the workplace. And 8 to 10-point circle hair was the most unfavorably judged hair, as well as it was expected to be straightened, even by Black people. And when written policy was created to ban small circle hairstyles, they usually referred to them as extreme or fad. Check this out. Hair is ancient. It's been around as long as humans have been in existence. And these brilliantly preserved human remains, they reconstruct how humans wore their hair thousands of years ago. These are 2 men recently, and as you see, this is not a fad. They have the same hair as that Kermit skull that was 2400 BC. So our hair is not a fad. This is a 2,000-year-old mummy, and that's a hairstyle that I did recently. Not a fad, it's just what we do to circle hair. Braids, thousands of years. So when I look at ancient hair, I see the pattern and the rhythm of life repeating itself. I mean, braiders around the world today are doing braid styles that were done thousands of years ago. And we don't go to school to do this. It's in our DNA. It's in the shape of the hair. And so these are some of the braided hairstyles that I did. Actually, these were done years ago. And so let's get comfortable with hair that makes us uncomfortable. Let's get comfortable with hair that grows long, that's small circle. And let's use the neutral language that is factual and objective of hair shape, which is circle hair or straight hair. Let's respect hair that grows down and hair that grows up. And so we are all connected by the strands of hair on our head. I'm sure in many of your families, there are different circle sizes and straight hair within one family. What we do have in common, though, is a desire to be respected. When I think of hair and when I think of the history of hair, I want us to be remembered for hairstyles we choose to wear and not those we are forced to wear. So now, remember, genetically, we all come from our mother hair. So let's honor that hair and our birthright to wear it. So please, take a look at the person in front of you or beside you. Do they have circle or straight hair? I hope you see them in a different way. Thank you.